Oh, hello, beautiful people. It is Coach Lacresha, aka Rain, your magical mystic. Trying not to show y'all too much this morning. so, um, I did just announce on Facebook that I was going live. So, some of you guys, it may take a minute for you to get on here. But, okay, I want to make this a short video because this is YouTube. Um, and I want to talk about Baron, Samedi, the ancients, Kaliman. Some of these energies, a lot of you guys come to me because I do sell summoning kits and altar kits and stuff like that, summoning oils. And so you come to me asking about these deities, and when you go out and do your research, sometimes it comes back a little bit confusing. And I want to give you Lacresha Hayes Rayno, aka M. Rains, primary thing to remember when working with energies. Have your own experience, okay? Don't allow other people to define for you what the experience should be. Hey Sonia, hey Anahata. I love that name. Hi Rachel. I hope you guys are doing well this morning, you beautiful goddesses. Hi Phoenix Alchemy. Okay, so when dealing with, I'm going to start with Baron, and I'm going to kind of work my way around. I want to just get some information out here real quick, and then if I have time, I'll go back and talk about some stuff that's really important for you to know. Okay, so with Baron, Baron Samedi is known as the loudmouth, shit-talking, pardon my language, but you know, that's what they say, the loudmouth, noise-talking, energy that sits at the crossroads and that walks the veil and controls life and death. He's husband of Maman Brigitte. Okay. Um, and those are the things, that's about as much as you're gonna get. He's a voodoo deity, blah blah blah, when you start doing your research. But that's not all to Baron Samedi. In some cultures, he's called Baron Saturday. Okay. He's closely associated with Saturn, really closely associated with. In fact, he represents an embodiment of that energy. Now, most people, when they think of Saturn, they think of a taskmaster. I love Saturn personally. I work with it all the time. And I mean, I can't imagine where I'd be without that energy being very present in my life. Good morning, Taj and Latricia and Tasha. Okay, so the energy of Saturn is not just strictness, discipline, karma. That's not all Saturn is. Saturn is also an energy that deals with celebration, acceleration, and a lot of other different things that are really productive and good. According to some lore, Saturn used to be the sun. It's the old sun. It's the retired sun, or the once removed sun, however you want to look at it. So some people put Saturn equal with Set, and the sun that we have now equal with Ra. And you got to understand, when dealing with these stories and these legends, most of it is allegory to capture what actually happened. And a lot of times, because of how occultism and mysticism has always been viewed, the truth had to be hidden in a thin veil of a lot of different speech, okay? So when dealing with Baron, there's a lot of playfulness, and not the youthful playfulness like you get with Eshu. Or the youthful playfulness and the good-hearted playfulness you get with Ganesha. This is a old man playfulness. If you ever seen some old men sitting up under the tree and they all talking noise to each other and talking loud and having fun and drinking their beer or whatever they drinking and smoking the cigars and stuff up early in the morning when everybody else would rather they be asleep, that's the kind of playfulness that it is. That's the wisdom of, I've lived long enough to know that all of this stuff is just bullshit. It really doesn't mean much. You know, when I started dealing with Baron Samedi, okay, I realized quickly there's an analogy for me personally between him and Solomon. Yes, the Solomon of the Bible, the one that it was said that he's the wisest that ever walked the earth. Now, this is personal for me, and I want to, at every turn, I want you guys to remember, you need to have your own experiences. Don't feel like something is not right if you didn't get the same expression of that deity or that energy that I did or someone else did, because it's really not that simple. But for me, there's just all this wisdom. But I always remember Ecclesiastics where it said, I've done this, I've done that, I did all these different things, I've lived long enough to do all of this, and it's all meaningless. Just do your work that you love to do and live a life that you love to live, and enjoy it, because that's the whole duty of man. Okay, that's what Ecclesiastics said. Well, when you're dealing with Baron Samedi, that tends to just come up, come up, come up all the time, at least for me, because he's playful. Like when he came into my house, he had to make it known to everybody who visited that he was there. It was like, a lot of energies you might not could tell they're there, outside of the fact that I got statues and stuff everywhere and altars all throughout my house. But he would be flushing the toilet when nobody's upstairs, just randomly. Or he'll turn the microwave on and off just randomly. And I have a lot of deities that play with the microwave, so that's normal. Flicking around with the lights and stuff like that. When you start having that full poltergeist effect in your home, that's not bad. I mean, if it's getting on your nerves, you can demand that they respect your home and that you don't have these experiences. You can say, I don't want these experiences. But a lot of you guys, you need the experience at first so that you can stop fighting with yourself about whether it's real or not. Now, Baron does deal with life and death. And therefore, he's not only a death dealer, like a lot of people kind of just place him, he's also a healer. Okay? He actually can do both. He's very shamanistic. He has a lot of mystical knowledge. And if you can handle the heat of the energy, then you'll get a lot of wisdom and knowledge from it. Baron always comes along with his counsel. I call them the ancients. And you literally feel like you're standing before a board of directors or something when these energies come into your home or into your room. They like to catch you in crammed quarters. Like you don't really feel it so much if you're outside of the park, but be in the house cleaning out your closet. All of a sudden they might crowd in, on you, because that's what they like to do. They like for you to know that they're there, for you to respect that. Because here's the thing, I always teach that you don't have to bow your knee and worship anything. The only thing above any of us is the Most High, once we declare our sovereignty and we walk into our divinity. Okay, for those of you that are star seeds and above, that's what I'm saying to you. But you should respect these energies because you will want them to respect you. And I mean, you got to understand that when you're looking at rebuilding your life and making a new life, it's beneficial to have help on the other side, someone who's just as committed on that side as you are on this side to recreating something else. Baron carries the burden and the pain and the joy of slavery and suppression and the whole overcoming thing. So when I first encountered him in New Orleans, and my sisters that were there, we were all on video, they could tell you I was damn near contorted, like there was so much pressure on my back, and I was pulled into trance state, and then it was all this primal fear that was all around me. And I was like trying to discover if it was me or if it was New Orleans or where it was coming from. But it was all the primal fear of those who were once oppressed and suppressed and killed just because of how they look and who they are. So when you're dealing with the Baron, and it's not to say that he don't deal with white people or Mexicans or any other race. He deals with whomever he wants to deal with, like all energies do. But when you're dealing with him, you're going to be forced to feel all of that suppression and oppression, but it empowers you. It's not like I'm going to throw them out here into this water of suffering all the pains of their ancestors. It's not that. It's just that if you want a real connection with your ancestors, how can you have that if you never know their pain? Trash man, y'all give me a second. I don't know if y'all can. I know y'all can because that's loud as hell. But so when you make a connection with something, you connect not only to the good but also to the painful. Okay, So it's real important that you don't cast it out as something evil or something wicked. The ancients act as if kind of like a board of advisors, and they will come, and usually if they come it's because you're at the precipice of making a decision, and that decision is critical to the progress of your life. And in a situation like that, it's important that you listen, because I mean, this is all about you and your life, and they come to warn you. I'm sorry, one second. I forgot the dirty trash there. So anywho, now let's deal with some other deities like Kali Ma, Morgan, some of the darker deities. A lot of you have been asking about them. Dark means, and this is the definitive definition of darkness when it comes to energies. It's not evil. It's closer to primordial source or primordial material, to first matter, materia prima. Okay. The closer an energy remains to that aspect, which is original creation, okay, then the darker they are. Some of you are dark deities, dark energies. You're dark because you are quite ancient. You know, you're not very far removed from the Most High, the universe itself. You know, it's if you think of it as a generational thing, if you say that the Most High is your dad, that's the difference from saying the Most High is your granddad or great-granddad or great-great-granddad, that kind of thing, the generational thing. Well, all creation didn't happen all at one time. We know this because creation is constantly happening now, right? And so the more ancient a deity, the darker the casting of them is. Now, another thing that gets a deity classified as dark, which means nothing, is if they deal with death, if they deal with war, or some of the things that we as humans have been taught is unnecessary, evil, wicked. And the truth of the matter is, it is, and it just will be. When we stop judging things, and I ain't gonna go off on a long tangent here, but I do need to say this: when we stop judging things, our life will be better. Think about this. It's a lot of us who right now are probably single, and somebody that we once loved and wanted over there having a great life, and we're like, damn, that could have been me, but it wasn't you because you was too busy judging a situation versus experiencing it. We've all had that situation, whether it be jobs. It's like, damn, I could have did this. Like, for instance, I could be part owner of Home Depot right now, and I know I talk about that a lot, but y'all just don't understand. Every time I pass by Home Depot, I'm like, what the hell was I need my ass whooped? You know, I was judging like, well, I don't want to just lose $500, a $500 buy-in. I had just gotten grown, had just gotten my first income tax return, and it was about to be on and popping. My life would have been set, but Spirit had a different thing in plan. But you got to look at when opportunities knock, sometimes we miss it because we're not ready, and that's the whole point of it knocking, to show us just how not ready we are, because we're judgmental, because we're fearful. Judgment always comes from fear, okay? When people are afraid of what they see or afraid of what's different, they immediately cast judgment upon it. Just like our walk that we're doing right now. It's like, why you got all these, no, see, that's wicked. You're going to go to hell. That's because they're afraid. And because they know that they can't control it, and they can't control you, and people get fearful in situations like that. So I said all that to say this. Kali Ma is often looked at as a bloodthirsty, dark goddess who, you know, is wicked or evil. Now, people who come from that pantheon, they understand that she is the destroyer, because she operates as a destroyer, because sometimes things need to be destroyed, okay? We, on the other hand, over here in the West, we have a tendency to feel like everything deserves to be protected, everything, and that's not the case. You know, some things need to be destroyed, and we got to accept that. So when you bring Kali Ma into your life, you have to be ready Just no different than Oya. And I'm going to tell you another thing. Most of the energies we have names for is just the same old energy reincarnated in different times and different places with different people. And different people are expressing these energies. Because if you hadn't figured out by now, no matter what you read, that Oya, Kalima, Sekhmet, all of that is really just one thing. It's just one thing. Okay? Um, Santa Muerte, different ones, one thing. It really is. Aphrodite, whether you call it Aphrodite, Hathor, Het Heru, Oshun, just one thing. You know, Freya. There are infinite numbers of energies. However, as it pertains to our history as a people on this planet, there's only so many that we have documented. And it's not that they're different. Okay? They're not different. They're just different names. So that's why I try to teach my apprentices to get down to the bottom of learning things by their energetic signature. And then you won't ever have to be fooled. You will know what you're looking at because you identify the frequency or the vibration of whatever it is you're watching. So Kali Ma comes and destroys, disintegrates what needs to be destroyed for growth and new birth. If you don't have a destroyer like her, you can never have the fullness of the beauty and the wealth and the spiritual development of Lakshmi. It all has to be married together. It's cyclic, okay? So she's not evil. She's not wicked. For that matter, you know, a lot of times we're talking to people who still think death is horrible and that death is a curse. It's like, death is not a curse, sweetie, and death is not horrible. It's necessary, okay? And when you understand death for what it really is, you no longer fear it because you understand it's just a transition. Like, I remember I used to be grief-ridden. I was grief-ridden for years. My grandmother died in 98, I think it was. And I was grief-ridden all the way up to last year when I finally was able to make contact with her personally and to talk to her and sit with her. And now I sit with her so much, you know what I mean, that it's just like she's not gone. She's just not here physically. And you kind of get to a place where you understand that. Okay, so Kali Mom, when you're working with her, one thing I will give you, well, two warnings. Some of you are in these willfully blind situations. You know this person not good for you. You know that person should be out of your life, but you just gonna hold on to them anyway. And then you want to do this spiritual walk in the midst of your rebellion, and then you want to fall all out when shit happens, but it will happen. If you in one of those crazy situations and you call Kali Mom, and you got people that's doing shit about ruining your life, doing things behind your back, just constantly in the way, they're going to feel that you've welcomed her into your life, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's why you need to be, before you start summoning deities and working with these energies or whatever you want to call it, before you get into that place, you really need to get to a place where you're ready mentally to allow whatever has to happen to happen. And that means that, you know what, I love my husband, I love my wife, I love my kids, I love my parents. But I have committed myself to my own development and evolution. And if that means that I end up having to walk a good portion of that alone without these that I love, then that's what I'm willing to do. When you resist, resistance is the source of suffering and pain many times. When you resist what really needs to happen, you make your journey hard. You make it torturous. You make it painful. So many women, I did a blockbuster ritual to break up all the blocks in a person's life. I did another ritual, some kind of purge and protect ritual. In both of those rituals, different women lost their men, you know. A couple of people lost their job, and they were like in my inbox, like, what happened? And I thought that the ritual, blah, 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 blah. It's like, baby, it said blockbuster. All the blocks in our lives is not just the stuff we want to get rid of. So that's how we think. We're very limited in our thinking. It's like, well, I would like to get rid of that, like that. Or I want to get rid of that, like this ex that won't quit bothering me. You know what I'm saying? But what you really need to get rid of is X, Y, and Z. And so that's what happens because you have made an agreement when you sign up for these rituals that I do. And I know a lot of people have signed up for various rituals because they kind of like, how could this work? And they see all of everybody talking about all the exciting stuff that happens to them for doing these rituals with me. But and then they get in it and they discover that you can't really control how it happens because at this point you're turning over a part of that to get help from the other side, and they know exactly what you need. They've taken an aerial view of your life. You're too hands on to see that this is blocking you, that is blocking you, this is blocking you. Okay. So, all right. So, the other thing I want to talk about is this as pertaining to these energies. When you're summoning an energy, let me say this. We're taught two different summonings: evocation and invocation. Evocation meaning calling, like sometimes I call Lilith up when I'm at the park and we just walk, but I can feel the energy clearly outside of myself versus me calling her into me, invoking her. And I let spirit, I will just publicly go on and say I do let spirits ride me. I do call them into me from time to time when I feel the need to. I'm not saying it's for everybody. I'm not advocating you do it, but it's nothing to be afraid of. And if you come out of church, you've been doing it anyway, especially if you come out of one of them holiness movements, Pentecostal, apostolic movements like I did. Infilling of the Holy Spirit is just like a common thing. The problem is you didn't have no control of what spirit was coming in, and you didn't understand all of what you were doing, which made it easy for you to be taken advantage of. Okay. If you think spiritual experiences aren't real in church, you're foolish. You know, there are entities that keep that thriving because they're able to feed as much as they want to. But on this side, you get to choose who you want to share a conscious space with. And when you do call these deities into you, you are sharing for a moment one body, and your DNA won't be the same. As you start practicing conjure and invocation, it will literally change you down to your DNA. How you think, what you know, the foods you like, what you drink, what you don't drink, blah, blah, all that stuff can change. Your body can change. It happens. Some of you have commented 1,000 times about how I look different all the time, but it's because I have walked with and do walk with so many different energies. So just be prepared for that. When you summoning a dark goddess or a dark god, dark meaning like what we talked about earlier, just kind of understand that the darker, which meaning closer to primordial energy, primordial material than most, okay, the darker, the stronger, the heavier. That means that you might have some bruises, you might have some scratches, you might have some pains, you might have some headaches, you might temporarily lose your vision. I've done that before, and that shit was not cool. Let me just tell you, I was scared to death. It's like, I can't see. Like, I had my eyes bucked, and I'm like looking around. Just like, what the hell just happened? But it passed. But it was just the feeling of that whoosh, when it came in. It literally took out all my senses. I couldn't really feel nothing either, or smell nothing, or taste nothing for like about 3 minutes. So it gets real if you allow it to be real. If you're not ready for that, don't judge yourself. If you're not ready, you're not ready. And it's nothing nobody can do to make you ready. That has to be your decision, okay? Don't let people push you into having experiences you might not even want. But don't let people scare you away from having experiences you're here to have. Okay? So I love working with the Baron. Yes, he plays jokes and he's kind of disruptive at times. But when you get used to him and you make him feel at home, there'll be days where you won't even notice he's there. He's also very comforting. He's very protective, and he will pull your card quick. You know what I mean? So I love him. I love dealing with his wife. I love dealing and for those of you who are into Tantra, and I'm going to make some videos about this soon and get into sex magic really deeply. I love the idea of working with him and his wife in that, you know, conjuring them up, doing invocation before the tantric experience, because the vortex is amazing. You know, Shango and Oya, they create an amazing sexual energy vortex. So there's just, I mean, there's a lot to this. The first thing you have to do, though, is quit being afraid and calling it wicked and calling it evil. Because I'm going to tell you something. You've been practicing most of this stuff all your life when you was in all these other religions. You just did it to other people's benefit. Now it's time to do it to your own. That's it. Now, if you guys are interested, I do have summoning oils for, oh my gosh, so many people. And let me bring this up real quick because we're at 25 minutes. If you've never worked with the Archangel Samael, Samael, you know a lot of people because he's closely associated with Saturn, okay? And people call him Satan. That's another name for him. It is what it is, okay? When I just be honest, when I discovered that was my angel, I was like, oh no. I guess I'm done. I'm going right back to church now. But I cannot express enough how beautiful it has been having that energy in my life, okay? And there's a correlation between Baron and that energy. So, you know, again, as you work with them, stop stopping yourself and quit every time you get something, some download from them. Quit Googling it. First thing you do is Google it, trying to prove you had that experience and that was what that was. Accept it. Write it down. Sit on it for a while. Everything you get, baby, you ain't going to find a match for it out there in the world because there's no other you. And some things are specifically for you, and then it might later on become something for you to teach. But you want to have your experience, not judge it. Okay. All right, guys. So check out the website. It's magicalmystic.com. I'm getting ready to probably launch a Magical Mystic YouTube channel. So I'll let you guys know about that. We have our t-shirts, our Good Juju Poppin' t-shirts and hat. And the next t-shirt we're waiting on to come in now is Whole Team Lit. Hashtag Whole Team Lit. So we got a lot of nice stuff coming up for those of you who are ready to just walk in your power and let the whole world know, you know what I mean, and just really enjoy it. Of course, we got the oils. My son just did his first oil. We just released his first oil. He has 3. And the first one is the Yin and Yang oil, and it's powerful. I use it. I've sent it out as free gifts to some of you guys who order a lot, so you can try it. He has an Eshu oil and he has a Jupiter oil that'll be out very soon. And my Feet by M is making waves, guys. I'm talking about everybody is buying this Feet by M. I have a distributor now who is buying it by the thousands, and he said that he can't keep it on the shelf. He was like, people who use it said that this works really well. So it's all pure, no preservatives, nothing close to preservatives. It's all butters and oils, and that is it. So it is really hot outside. I think I'm probably gonna have to start freezing them just so they can survive the trip to wherever else, you know, because I've had a few that melted on the way, especially across seas, because I do a lot of shipping to Germany. I have some people that's in Iraq and different places like that. And when I ship to those really hot areas or those really long distances, it do tend to melt. But for those of you who are in the United States, most of the time there's not a problem. If there ever is a problem, you guys know that you can hit me up and I'll replace your order. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to share this, you know, let people know that it's okay when you can't find a lot of information. That's just a challenge for you to have your experience and share your experience, and your experience becomes information for someone else to find, and that's beautiful. You know, one thing about dad is you can feed him fried chicken all you want to and wine. My son keep all his energies drunk. That boy keeps some Hennessy or some Cavassier and all them expensive. One day he was like, Mom, I think I'm gonna put some water on the altar in case they want to sober up. I was like, yeah, that might be necessary, but you can give them all that you want, but nothing at all makes a bigger difference than giving them your attention and your time and talking about them. Saint Expedite ain't the only one that like to be praised. So I just wanted to say that. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Mwah. Now, how to get out of here? Y'all know I be forgetting. Hold on. Wait a minute.